Hello and welcome once again to Gabbit Media. I'm Grant Abbott, and today I'm going to be going through the graph editor. I'm also going to explain the different windows for animating, and we're going to do a very simple ball bouncing animation. This is the second episode in the series of the basics of animation in Blender 2.8. Do remember that there's the animation challenge in the month of May, so join the Facebook group or the Discord server, and you can go to my website for more free courses like this one. All the links are in the description. So this is what you should first see when you open up Blender. I've enabled my shortcut keys on the bottom left here in case you get stuck. I'm going to click on the cube, delete it, and Shift A to add, or I can go to the add menu up here, but Shift A is the same. Add a UV sphere this time, and I'm going to right click on that and shade smooth, so it looks a bit better. I'm also going to Shift A and add a plane, so this is going to be our floor, and I'll scale it up just a touch, and I'm going to click on my ball with left mouse button, grab in the Z axis GZ1, so that's one Blender unit, which is a meter. So our ball is now standing on top of our floor. So first of all, let's animate our ball. You can see I've got the timeline down here, and the timeline is just a basic version of the dope sheet, which you can see there. So if I go back to the timeline, the difference is that I've got my record button here, which is very helpful. So I can press record now, click on my UV sphere, press G to grab, and just left click. So I've not actually added any movement, but I have inserted a keyframe because I've got record on. Also, let's get our tools up here, which you can get by pressing N or click on the view panel, and that will give me my location so I can see what I'm keyframing. So let's go along 15 frames. So I right click on my timeline, G to grab in the Z axis and move it up slightly. And I can be more precise and type in 3 here, so you can follow along easily. So I should have a simple animation of it going upwards. Now I can copy this first keyframe by clicking it and then Shift D to duplicate and pull it across to frame 30, and now I have a very basic bouncing ball. What I'm going to do as well, if I go to my output settings over here, I'm going to change the end point to 30 so that when I press spacebar it will loop. These output settings here are the same as these, so I could have changed it in here as well. So at the moment, it's a very poor bouncing ball. The reason is the interpolation between the keyframes. I'll go into that in just a moment, but let's go through the different options we have down the bottom here. If I grab the middle between my two viewports and pull it up, we have the timeline, which you can see here, and that gives us this extra record button and a bit of information about the frames. We've also got the dope sheet, which I talked a bit about last time, and that's a more complicated version of the timeline. And I can click on this little arrow here, and that will give me my information and the specific channels. The top channel is the dope sheet summary, and I can select all the channels underneath and move them all at the same time by clicking that top one. So I don't need to Alt-A to deselect, B to box select, and grab them all like this. I can just grab that top one, and it will grab all the ones below it. The same for the sphere, but that will grab all the things below in the sphere, and then I can go to the specific channels here and grab these individually. And can you see how they're selecting individually? But if I grab my sphere, that will select them all because that's grabbing the whole sphere keyframes. I can use the wheel and middle mouse button to strafe along my timeline and move in with the wheel. So that's the dope sheet, which we'll come back to later. The graph editor I'll talk about in a moment, and that's how we can change the interpolation between our keyframes. Drivers are when you set up controls for your animations and have almost like buttons that control certain movements, for example. That's quite complicated, so I won't go into that. And the nonlinear animation, if I click on that, this is like a timeline that you'd expect to see in something like Adobe Premiere or Windows Movie Maker or iMovie. And that breaks down what are called actions into segments. And you can put in things like walk cycles and run cycles and idle animations, and you can actually blend them together. But again, that's not really for a beginner, but what you will find useful is the graph editor, which I'll go to now. So the graph editor is much like the dope sheet, but it shows the information in a graph. So if I go to the object transforms here, you can see all my channels, and the only thing that's actually moving at the moment is the Z location. And if I click on that, it highlights that curve there. I can also isolate that with Shift H, so it hides everything else except the Z location. And you can see if I zoom in here that it starts at 1 and goes up to 3. Now I can hold down Control and middle mouse button and move upwards, and it will expand it out upwards, or I can hold Control middle mouse button and move side to side and squeeze it in, and that can be very helpful. So if I look at my curve and the detail, you can see the 3 on the side there and the 1 on the side, starting point, right mouse button to move across again, so it moves up to 3 and back down to 1. But what you will notice is that the curve starts off slow and then slows down again and slows down again. So these are what are called bezier points. So if I click on one, you can see the bezier handle. So if I press R to rotate, not that you need to do that at the moment, I can rotate this curve and change the way it interacts. So if I play my animation, you can see that it slows down as it comes to the floor and it slows down as it goes to the top. Now this is great if you want smooth motion and it's going, let's say, from side to side and it slows down. That's good, but for balls bouncing, that's not very good. If I select all my keyframes with A and press T, that will give me different options for the interpolation. So there's linear, and you can see it creates a very sharp point, which in some ways is better, but not at the top here. It should slow down as it goes up, but it should bounce on the floor. So it's correct for these two, but not for the middle point. If I press T again, there's also a constant, and that goes along and then quickly changes, and then goes along, quickly changes. I'll show you what I mean. It's sort of like an on-off. And it can be quite handy for some things, but we're not going to use that at the moment. So if I press T again and go back to my bezier, which is generally what you tend to use, you can change these points individually by pressing V, and you can change the way you can interact with these handles. So free, for example, I can click on one edge, grab that one edge and pull it in, but I'll undo that. Or if I press V again, I can go to aligned, and that's what we're more used to. So if I grab that, it will align the two ends. So I'll right click to undo any movement there. And there's other different options in there as well, which there's no need to go into as a beginner, but just to know that they're there. So how can I make my ball bounce more like a bouncing ball in reality? Well, we said that the beginning should be harsh, and then the middle it should slow down, and then increase speed and be harsh again to bounce back up. So basically, if I click on this one and grab the end handle, G, and then in the X-axis and bring it right in, that will create a harsh bounce. So you'll see that when it starts off, it bounces quite harsh, and I need to do the same for this one. So grab the end of that, G, pull it in, so it's quite close. Now we've got those harsh ends. Now of course what I could have done is I could have clicked on this and pressed V and then changed it to free and then moved this up so it's harsher like that. That's fine, but I'm trying to keep things simple and just keep to the bezier handle. So I'm just pulling that in for the moment. So let's see what it looks like. So it looks a bit more like it's bouncing, but it's a bit slow to slow down. So in other words, we need it to slow down faster. Bit strange, but if I scale this one up, you'll see what I mean. And now it looks a bit more like a bouncing beach ball, which is great. We could make this look even better. Let's extend it out and make it bounce and then bounce less and then bounce less. So let's change it to something like 90 frames, zoom out a bit, and we can actually add keyframes in our graph editor. So if I go across 15 again, G, then Z, and this time we're going to move it up to 2. So I can actually type 2 in there, and I can copy this point, Shift D to duplicate, move it across in the X-axis by clicking X, across to 60, in the same way as you do the dope sheet. And let's see what that looks like. So it bounces up, but there's a bit more I need to do with the curves. So I can click on my curves, I can bring this one right in, G then X, bring it right in, so it's a sharp point now. That one's okay because it's a copy of this one. And this one we need to extend outwards, so scale this one. Let's see what that looks like. So it's starting to work, and then we'll make it bounce even less on this one. So we'll go into the middle here. This time I'm just going to press I in the graph editor on only selected channels. So it's just on the Z location, and I'm going to put one at the end as well. So bring my timeline to the end, I, only selected channel, and then I can grab this one in the Y-axis, although in this case it would be changing the Z-axis, so don't be confused by that. and move it up just a touch and scale it out. And lastly, bring this one in, G then X. So remember, this is all happening on the Z axis, even though I said move it up in the Y axis, because this is obviously the X axis and Y axis of this specific channel. The last one, I'm going to move this in, G then X, so that's nice and sharp. Let's see what it looks like. That's good, but I need to shorten this one in terms of time. So time along the bottom here, this is exactly the same bounce as this one, even though it's going up less distance, so it needs to scale in. So I can press B to box select, select all these, and press S to scale. Now at the moment, it's not scaling from my playhead, which I want it to. So I want it to scale in from this end towards my playhead. So I should be able to click this and choose 2D cursor. Now if I press S, it comes in towards my playhead. So let's bring it into about there, bring our playhead to about here, C to circle select this time, and middle mouse button to get rid of these ones, and then right click to come out of circle select mode, and then make sure my pivot point is here, my playhead is here, and S to scale these ones down. And let's see what that looks like. So that's much better. So here I am just doing a time lapse of me adding the last points in, so there's a little sort of ripple bounce at the end just to make it look more realistic. I think it all needs to be sped up a little bit so I can scale it all. Remember, I'm still on my 2D cursor, and my 2D cursor is in the middle of this point, so it's just there. And I can change this to bounding box center, which is the whole thing, but it's the center of the whole thing, and scale it in that way. Or what would be better is from frame 0 and changing it back to 2D cursor and scaling it in that way, but just in the X axis, and then it keeps the height. So now it looks a bit more like a bouncing ball. And I think what would be better, I can grab all of these in the X axis, move it across, and I think insert a starting point over here. I only select the channels, G to grab, in the Y axis, move that up, bring this one in, and scale this one out. And scale that out like that. Now it's falling first, that looks a bit more sensible. Needs a tiny bit of tidying up. And there we have it, a bouncing ball animation. Hopefully that's given you a good introduction to the graph editor. You can see that all my keyframes are still in the dope sheet if I just zoom out here. And the only channel that I actually changed was the Z location. So I could easily go in and delete these channels by right clicking on them and deleting them, or shift selecting them and right clicking, deleting channels. That leaves me with the Z location, and it still all works fine. So there's the dope sheet and the graph editor showing you the specifics of that channel. So have a go at that, and maybe have a go at making it jump and roll. Starts to get a bit more tricky at that point. Good luck. Do remember about animation, the animation challenges for the month of May, and check out my website for more information on that. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps.